All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Community Talk number 24. We have some amazing community updates today, and then we have some amazing speakers to do a few segments on what is happening in and around the community. So let's start off with the community updates. It was announced a couple of weeks ago that Tegan Klein is now the new CEO for Edge and Node. So that was super cool to see, and we all wish her the best of luck. We had Simon from Edge and Node give a workshop on Eat Valgrade, and I think Crypto Mastery, who is in this call, was also there to do a workshop. So great job there. A lot of us are at Eat Waterloo this week, so if you are around the area, please come around and come have dinner with us or have some fun. It should be great. And we were also at Eat Prague, and we have Orion here, Slim Chance, who will speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We were at beautiful Prague. There was three venues: La Fabrica, Vinitro Block, and Paralelny Polis, and amazing venue for hackathon, all EAT themed, and we also had some incredible projects submit for our hackathon prizes. So I'd like to just shout out the winners. It was Be Together, Lens Substream. That was one of our first Substream hackathon submissions, and that was great to see that somebody is already working on new use cases for Substreams. And we had PeerUp, Brian, who's using AI technology to create transactions that you can put on chain. So that queries and uses reinforcement or uses AI learning to find out how to create transactions, and then you can put them directly on chain. So you could say, "Hi Brian, please swap 20 USDC with GRT," and Brian will use the data from the graph to train the AI model and then come up with a transaction to swap 20 USDC for GRT. That was a very interesting project. We had Libertas and we had Turtle Shell. So a ton of good submissions. We had 23 submissions in total, and it was a lot of fun. So I hope to see more people on every hackathon. So, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I would like to continue then with giving some updates on the GRTIQ podcasts that were announced or that were published, I should say. And one of them was very interesting to me. That was from Marissa Posner, who was a hacker that won some prizes at Denver. So it was very cool to see that she continued her journey on the graph and now featured on the GRTIQ podcast. So very cool to hear. We also had 117 with Lauren Felt, who is the founder at Collective Works. We had 119 with Liam Doyle, founder at GRT Data Hub. We had episode 120 with Mihai Grigor, head of Web3 protocol research at Masari. And we also had episode 122 with Petko Pavlovsky, who is a senior software engineer at GraphOps and a well-known member in the community as well. So those are all very cool to listen to. So if you did not have the chance yet to listen to them, please do so. They were awesome. We also had the monthly core dev updates, which we'll be posting in the chat because there was so much information on there that it would take a long time to go over that all individually. So we're posting the links to those forum updates on the chat and also in the show notes. And I would like to introduce Martin, who is a worker at PINAX, and he is going to tell us a lot of stuff about Substreams Unleashed. So, Martin, would you like to take the stage, please? And I will share the presentation.
Awesome. Yeah, let me know when you're ready to share. I can do the quick intro already. So hello everyone. My name is Martin. Pleasure to be here. I'm the VP of marketing for PINAX, and as of recently a graph advocate. I'm focusing on content production. So Substreams Unleashed is like one of my contributions or projects that I came up with and that I'm going to introduce here on this call. I'm a non-tech, so I'm constantly learning, and what I learn in Web3, I love to communicate and basically like share it in digestible pieces for people that are not necessarily techie. so we can grow the community and have more knowledge going around. So my job is to let everybody know what we do at PINAX, and part of that is also our work with Substreams, and this is how Substreams Unleashed came all about. Before I get into that, I want to give a quick introduction to PINAX. If you don't know, we are a Web3 service provider. We're specialized in blockchain and data indexing operations. And let me check if yeah. Yeah, we're indexer at the Graph and passionate Web3 community member. We manage our own bare metal hardware. We hosted them in several data centers. We're self-funded, and our values are resilience, independence, and decentralization. I'm with PINAX since about 5 years, and I'm happy to share that we are above 50 members already, and we keep growing. So next slide, please. Before we talk about anything Substreams, we need to give a huge shout out to the Streaming Fast team. They have been developing Firehose and Substreams for quite a while already, I think 2 years. And they had a recent breakthrough. They're not just developing it, they're also kind of testing it out. Next slide, please. I think this month it came out that they finalized the Uniswap v3 subgraph and have it powered with Substreams. And that increased the performance magnificently. So they're speaking about 100x for the Uniswap v3 subgraph. Having it powered by Substreams, it took previously it was 2 months, now it takes 20 hours, and yeah, that's pretty huge. I'm sharing this update quickly in the chat right here. Catch that link. And they also shortly after that have put out the proposal GGP25 in order to enable Substreams-based subgraphs. So yeah, that means Substreams are probably coming. Let me see. I see a question in the chat. Let me move that quickly. Okay, yeah, steal the slides. Go away. Usually I put my slides up in the cloud. So yeah, where was I? So GGP 25 it's been proposed. There's a little bit of discussion still going on about how it's been tested and when it's going to be enabled. But yeah, Substreams are coming. And for everybody who doesn't know, just a few slides about how this works. It's about first we have the Firehose, and then Substreams is in the transform and load part of the ETLQ pipeline that we're having. So what Substream does, it transforms the data in whatever output cache you want, and then you can store it how it's best for the application. So you can put it in Kafka, you can put it in Prometheus, GraphQL, GraphNode, whatever you want. So it's pretty flexible. Another thing that's great about Substreams is the composability, and the composability actually inspired me to Substreams Unleashed, because more people, next slide please, more people need to know what other people are building so we can build on top of each other. So if somebody is building a Substream, another developer can come and take Substream A and use it for Substream B, or take Substream A, Substream B, put it together and create Substream C. So informing everybody what everybody's building on, and kind of giving like a little bit of rundown of how it's been built and where to find the open source code is kind of the idea of Substreams Unleashed. So let me quickly summarize what Substreams are before I go deeper into Substreams Unleashed. Again, developed by Streaming Fast. It's in the transformation and load part of the ETLQ pipeline. It's composable, so it's like building blocks. Every substream can be composed into another to create a new one. And yeah, all you need to know is learn a little bit of Rust and get started.
There was a question by Payne in the chat. I'm not sure if you want to answer that now.
I can, sure. Well, that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure if I can answer that. Let me get back to you. I will send you a DM right after, Payne, if that's okay. So, or somebody else in the chat who's more technical than me can do that. All right, let me move on to Substreams Unleashed. So what is Substreams Unleashed? what we're doing, it's a video series. It's interview based. We have them from 10 minutes to 20 minutes. And basically, we're exploring the use cases for Substreams and what people are building with it. Developers sharing their experience and sharing tips and tricks, how to use Substreams, how to set it up in an environment, etc., etc. And from that video content, like the output is like there's a demo, we have a tutorial on how to set something up, or just like point to a piece of open source code. And then people can learn about it, learn about the developer, and network and maybe take part of the open source code in order to compose it. In my kind of analogy of this whole thing, the developers are the rock stars, the code is their music or their compositions, and Substreams Unleashed is kind of the stage or puts a spotlight on them, so more people can go in, learn about it, and potentially remix. So my background is in music, so this kind of works for me. So have more code going around, like highlight the people that are building it, and then have it remixed and repurposed and grow the whole ecosystem. I want to give a couple of examples of Substreams Unleashed videos that we already did. So Etienne built a Substream powered Google Sheets. So there you can plug in like prices or trading volume, trading activity, any kind of on-chain data, and sync that up in your Google Sheet. So that's really useful if you have a mix and match of like expenses that are on-chain, some are not on-chain, some prices are fluctuating. So plugging all this data into your Google Sheet will help you like doing your accounting. Another one that we did with Mathieu was supercharged NFT data. He built like a whole open source NFT hub where any NFT like has like a trail of data, when it was traded, for what price, etc., etc. Who collected it. The whole provenance of an NFT is sometimes really important, but there are no like third-party APIs that are easy to use. So he built the NFT hub, and you can find it open source. I can share the link to it quickly. You can also find usually the links to the presentations and stuff like that in the show notes of these videos. Here's the link to the NFT hub. And yeah, it's for those that want to build stuff with API with NFTs, that would be a pretty useful building block. And there are more to come. We have one coming up that goes deeper into the concept of syncs, build syncs for text files, having like Substreams powering Telegram or Discord bots, and many more. So once Substreams are out there, or if you're already building with Substreams, yeah, we would like to, have a session with you, introduce a project, and yeah, highlight what you're building with Substreams, and get some feedback from you, how you like building with it. So reach out to me. I'm at MartyB on Discord, at Marty_BE. The same thing on Telegram if you prefer Telegram. Yes, and next slide, please. If you don't like video content and you prefer written content, feel free to join our awesome Substreams repo. There's plenty of content that we accumulate there. We're still looking for contributors. Give it a like, give it a star, so we get up in the rankings for the awesome lists on GitHub. So that's more or less it. One thing that you also will find on our YouTube channel is a lot of Firehose content. So Firehose powers Substreams like a big pump. It gives basically the pressure to if you think about Substreams as a plumbing system, Firehose gives all the power to it. So we can push the volume that we want. And so there are a lot of tutorials on the YouTube channel done by Matthew Darwin that you might know on how to set up Firehose and for operators how to get started. We're planning to do one on which hardware to use. So yeah, give it a like, give it a follow, and share with your friends. Thanks. That's it for me.
Thank you so much for that presentation, and I would love to have you back on in a couple of months to see how this processed and what new things you've built. 'Cause this was really cool, and the quality of content that you guys make is amazing. So thank you once again, and hope to see you back soon.
Thanks so much for having me.
Amazing. So up next, I think I'm gonna move around the segments a little bit because I think we were missing some speakers, and if the DAO members could check that out real quick, that would be great. I would like to invite Andrea to come on to talk about Geo and some updates on Geo.
Yeah, sure. Let me just share my screen. Can you guys see it? Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, we have some updates on Geo too. For those of you who don't know, Geo is a Web3 browser that helps organizing data in a decentralized way, and also allows communities to create their own reputation systems and governance. So we can all have access to the most valuable data and human knowledge in one place. It is still in the first stages. A few months ago, we had only a few spaces. We started with crypto, San Francisco, people, health, and philosophy. But now, if we count the root space, there are 16 spaces. We've added, the Geo team has added AI, sustainability, history, energy, construction, psychology, education, cryptography, news, social work, and software. So basically, there is a place for everyone that would like to contribute and add data to Geo, and also edit data on Geo. I would like to use this opportunity to also give a huge shout out to the graph advocates that have been very involved into adding data on Geo. You can see their names on the screen. And also to invite more people, if they want to contribute to Geo, they can become an early editor. I will share the link in the comments. In the chat. So I've also been involved myself in this process, and I really liked it. I've added some data to the crypto space, to the health space, and also to the history space. And I really enjoyed the fact that you don't have to be technical at all if you want to contribute. And also, you get to learn a lot of things while doing it because you are reading a lot of stuff, and I found it really useful. And I think that maybe the best part is that you're helping building a decentralized world in which the data we have access to is curated, and you can form your own communities and find people that think alike, which I find is a very useful and valuable thing. One of the big brains from Geo is Arturas, who's a philosopher, and he has weekly philosophy events. So far, they started like 2 months ago. They are online, happening every Thursday. So far, there have been topics like governance, national security, laws, intellectual property. The next one is this Thursday, and it's about taxes and Web3. And if you guys want to participate, I will also leave the link in the chat. So this is it. Also, if you would like to see more information about Geo, I will leave Yaniv's video from the event he had at the House of Web3 recently. And feel free to ask any questions if you have any about Geo.
Amazing. Thank you, Andrea. That's very nice. And yeah, I would also second that that Arcturus is very cool to listen to. So if you have time to join those events, please do so. They're amazing. We have Aguboss here that would like to speak, but I'm not sure if he has permission. So Aguboss, could you try to unmute to see if you can speak? I think Aguboss cannot speak yet. Aguboss, if you cannot speak, could you write it in the chat as well? So maybe we can get the moderator to give you speaker permissions. There we go. Is there anybody here that can give speaker permissions? Slim or Payne, maybe?
All right.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hi. Great. So yeah, I would like
Hi.
to introduce Aguboss. He's one of our graph advocates, and he has recently made a lot of very high quality content about his journey into Web3 and how the graph plays into that. So yeah, take it away.
Yeah, guys. Nice to finally be with you guys. So I started a series called The Future of Web3, basically looking at what the future holds for Web3 in different sectors of the industry. Basically the science sector, the science sector, the finance sector, the governance, arts and games. So I just basically went through the major sectors. Now, looking at the future of Web3 is kind of a very broad aspect, but I went through major sectors and see where Web3 goes from there. So in the science sector, I'm just going to briefly go through it. I did an introduction into Web3 for new beginners because I don't know the kind of people listening to my blog, looking at my blog. So I did a brief introduction about different terms and terminologies in Web3, the importance, the risks when you are going into Web3. And then next, I took a look at now decentralized science. We have new DAOs, new DeCi DAOs gradually entering into Web3. So I looked at what exactly we should expect from these DeCi DAOs. Now we have popular ones like Vita DAO. We also have Air DAO. We have Valley DAO and Athena DAO. Yeah, Athena DAO is about women's reproductive health. Now, DeCi DAOs basically revolutionize blockchain technology in the science industry because normally when we look at Web3, we are majorly looking at the NFTs and majorly the finance aspects. Now, DeCi DAOs help to bridge the gap between blockchain technology and science. You can now do research and development, governance using different DeCi DAOs. Like Vita DAO recently launched their IP NFTs, which is probably the first in the DeCi space. So there are actually a lot to expect from science organizations in the Web3 space. Then I looked at the finance sector. Now the finance sector is a very, very broad space. So I basically divided the article into two different parts: finance sector and decentralized exchanges, and a paradigm for a global currency, which is one of my favorites. Now, the paradigm for a global currency was basically looking at is there a way we can peg a global currency to a token? Is there a way we can get a global currency, like the world should work with a global currency? Like we have generally most of the challenges various countries are facing is because they have financial power over this. They want a bigger financial power. So is there a way we can stop that by having basically a global currency for all nations of the world using DeCi space? And that was something I explored in that article. And also I talked about in the DeFi space. So I also talked about decentralized exchanges and how they are transforming the use the use of decentralized exchanges, and I talked about centralized exchanges, how centralized exchanges have been dominant, and the finance sector is being changed, it's being revolutionized with the use of DEXs, the use of smart contracts and all, instead of basically giving your money to a centralized exchange and doing the transaction for you. Basically, your, like they say, not your keys, not your crypto. So basically, the use of decentralized exchanges, I talked about that in the article. I went into NFTs. Um, I went into NFTs. Now, the NFT space, which is the art space, is also a very broad aspect of Web3. And I talked about art ownership. Now, when artists create their different artworks, they generally have to go to a museum, a gallery to get publicity, to get the needed publicity to display their works, to find buyers and all. But with the use of blockchain technology, we have a global gallery, a global museum where artists can just go to an NFT market space and paste their work or send in their work, and they get their funds from that. We also I also looked at different types of artworks. Now it's not limited to just paintings and sculptures and different designs. Now we have, in the NFT space, we have articles and essays, we have tweets, we have music and sound, and even real estate, virtual real estate. So the NFT space is actually a very broad space, and I looked at that in the future of Web3 articles. The title of that particular topic was Digital and Decentralized Galleries. Then I looked at the gaming sector. Now in the gaming sector is quite similar to the arts sector, because Web3 helps gamers to generally buy in-game assets, to get in-game assets. It's a sort of way, and the play to earn model was also talked about briefly in the article, and how Web3 could actually economically empower players, the Web3 gamers. Web3 helps to empower them, and that's the gaming aspect is actually a very, very interesting aspect which has room for improvement in the future. And finally, I talked about governance. I titled this "Government of the People, by the People, and for the People." So that article talked about how decentralized governance, using a decentralized governance models in organizations of the world currently. So basically, giving the community the power in your organization, in your project, on your network. And yeah, that's I also talked about different voting mechanisms in DAOs, and this has basically been what I think um could be the future of Web3, and I talked about that in that article also. Now, when I was going through the articles, I noticed that the challenges and risks for in those different sectors are kind of intertwined in such a way that they have similar challenges associated with each sector. These challenges are security challenges, scalability challenges, and also challenges in the governance sector. I noticed that there would also be challenges in decision making, but these are challenges which I feel can easily be solved as time goes on and as we further explore the Web3 space. So I'll try to post a link to the article also, and you guys should endeavor to check it out and see have better information on the future of Web3. So thank you for listening. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've read through all of them because I was reviewing some of them as my role as a Graph Advocates DAO member, and I was very impressed by the way that Aguboss was writing about pretty difficult topics in a way where the difficulty level would rise pretty quickly, but you would get into it and then you would start learning and learning and learning. And he also describes the pros and cons of everything. So I thought it was a very good introduction into Web3. And then he also covered most of the areas that the graph is also active in. So I thought it was really cool. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on. And I would love to see more of your content in the future and hopefully bring you on again. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
We have a slight
my
problem here. Oh, sorry.
my DMs are open if there are any questions. I know there might not be time for that right now, but if you need me to put you through anything concerning one of my articles, I will further explain. I plan on actually making broader articles on each topic later in the future, especially the educational aspects. But yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we originally had two more segments planned about the Graph India and about the work that the Graph advocates are doing in India. But unfortunately, we're having some medical issues on some of these speakers, and other speakers are having technical issues. So I think we're going to postpone that until next month's community talk. So for now, I would like to thank everybody for being here. Later during the day, there will be an index or office hours. It will be great to see you all there. Of course, if you want to get more involved in the ecosystem, you can apply to the Graph Advocates program and help out with the planning of this call, among other things. And to close it off, I would like to invite everyone for next month's community talk. So thank you all and hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.